Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray, brought to you proudly by Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency, Barton Power Sports, Sportsman's Warehouse, and Best Care Home Services.
Hey, welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray. As we wrap up today's show, we kind of had to juggle a few things. You always hope that everything works out. Sometimes it doesn't in our almost 18 years on the air. And we could not get in touch with C.J. Buck of Buck Knives. And so we'll try to reschedule C.J. maybe after the big SHOT Show, which is next week in Las Vegas. And we'll talk about some new deals going on at Buck Knives, including a new deal with a guitar company. So I think it's kind of interesting. But we got Frank Barton, we got Guy Trebo, we got Shelby McCall pushing all the buttons as on this January the 19th. And so it's just us guys. And so we've kind of hem-hawed around a lot about certain things, about the duck season. We gave that a pretty good shot and everything like that. But, you know, really, we got a lot of things going now as far as outdoors. And I was thinking they made the last stocking of the trout in the local ponds, which I think is a great thing that the TWRA does. And we'll talk a lot about it. But, Frank, I know that you got a lot of things going on at the store. You got any here's your chance as we close out this thing. Anything special coming up at any of your 1,500 stores?
I don't have 1,500.
It feels like it.
I will say this about, since we're coming towards the end of the duck season, and which is kind of traditional, the end of the hunting season in our area, and that
Until
is
turkeys come.
Folks that have had these utility vehicles and ATVs and side by sides that have been out there duck hunting.
Don't wait.
Don't go ahead and do all your routine service at the end of the season, and don't wait until next season, at the beginning of next season, to do it. You want to go ahead and change all those fluids now, because if you've been hunting in water, and everybody that duck hunts eventually gets in water.
Lots of water now. Yeah.
You're going to have those gearboxes and gear cases are going to have moisture in them. You cannot help but get them in. It's going to happen that way. And go ahead and change your fluids now and get that water out of those components, because if you don't, they'll sit up during the year. And
surely people don't do that, do they?
They'll create damage.
They don't do that, do they?
It happens all the time.
Happens all the time, doesn't it?
And we tell it, so I'm sound like a broken record on some things like that. But
so don't wait.
Don't wait. Just
Trouble will
bring
come.
Bring them into us, or whoever you use for your servicing. We'd love to do it, and we work on all makes and models.
Mm-hmm.
But go ahead and do that work now, and you're going to spend that money no matter what, but you'll spend less money if you do it now than if you wait.
Well, let's talk
It happens all
ATVs.
the
We
time.
have a chance here right now. What is the major problem that people experience after the duck season?
The most expensive problem, major, is the front gearbox and the rear gearbox, but primarily the front gearbox. Will have water in it, and a fair amount of water.
Yeah.
Depending, especially with the older units, and the seals don't seal up quite as well as it used to, and so that water will get in there, and then the components start to rust. It'll get rust in there, and then it creates more abrasion, and a lot of the components, they have the front wheel drive kicks in with electromagnets, and the rust on those and it just
doesn't take long.
It doesn't take long, and it just eats them all up, and then you'll have major. It's nothing to spend $1,500 on a gearbox.
Wow. And I know 2019. What's Polaris? Give us any little hints and what maybe they've hinted with you. Don't you go to Minnesota every year and have a?
They did not have a new product meeting this past year.
They didn't.
They skipped it first time in a while, but
yeah.
We know we're going to Minnesota next year.
Okay.
No, we've got the products that we've got now are what we saw back in end of July and early August.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the ones that we're going to have. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't come out with something on the sport utility side. That's what we call the razors.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Maybe in March we might see something new. They've been prone to do a mid-year product introduction,
And that could happen this year. You never know.
I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't see something. The market stays fairly competitive and innovative, and Polaris is. I tell folks this is Polaris is it's just an innovation company disguised as a manufacturing company. How they do things.
And you can go across and visit with Frank or Franklin or any of his crew over there in West Memphis, right across from the
Southland Park Gaming and Racing. We all call it the dog track.
We have to throw Frank in for that. And
for some reason, he just likes how I rolled that off.
Yeah, and he's got it with his FM voice. And, of course, we got him in Forest City. We got him in Jonesboro. And, of course, the new facility out here on Mount Moriah Road. If you're looking for some cool gifts, you don't have to own a motorcycle. Don't have to have a ATV. Don't have to have a slingshot. They got shirts and everything else. I've been really impressed on the Mount Moriah thing. And we have tried, and throwing Guy into this conversation, he really works a lot. He has a real life. Believe it or not, Guy doesn't just do this. He has things to do. But we try to include, and I send it to him. I'm convinced that we got more information on that front page. I don't know how you've done it, but it's usually up to date because Guy tries to do that. And a lot of people have asked, well, where do you get your information? Where you do that kind of things? We can do it on Facebook. You can go to my Facebook page and look at that and see all the breaking news. But if there's an in-depth story, I send them on to Guy, and Guy keeps a track of all that. And we, if I'm not mistaken, we keep most of our shows up for a month or so?
I keep the last 10 shows on the site.
So the last 10 shows.
Yep.
If you've missed one of the shows, you can come back and listen to that. You can shoot me an email at lroutdoors at att.net for any guest ideas or whatever. And we can always use show sponsors. We'd love for you to join our team and let things happen. So
and also, Larry, every show we've ever done is on YouTube. Because just go to we have our YouTube page for Larry Ray Outdoors, and if you go to that, you have every show that we've done, at least from the time we started putting the shows on YouTube, which has been years ago.
Yeah.
So we have them all.
And that's good. You can go to YouTube and find out all those different answers like that, and it'll tell you a lot about what's coming up. We have a calendar events, and
you'll be doing a lot of dinners here pretty soon.
I will be posting the Wild Game Dinner. There is a circuit on that, and one of the biggest is in Mark Rose's church in West Memphis, and I'm not going to tell you about it because it's sold out already, but I love to go to that one. It kind of kicks it off. There's a big one that was held last night in Savannah, Stacy Walker and Lance Walker's church over there, but I will tell you that they're rolling in now. Whether it's Germantown Baptist, it's my church at Bartlett Hills Baptist. Ours is on March the 16th. I know Brody Swisher is going to come in town and speak at a couple of them. So
you'll get to eat some things there that you don't eat at most.
Yes, yeah, and like I say, you can go to about 8 of them if you time your schedule just right. And of course, we don't want to forget coming up in middle February, 15th, 16th, and 17th. I think of the dates for the Mid-South Sports and Boat Show at the Agri Center. Be rolling into town on that, and I'll be out there some for that, but I hope y'all can put that on your calendar. That's that's February 15th, 16th, and 17th that we'll all be out at the Agri Center. And lots of things going on. Frank's got things going on. I got things going on. I bet Shelby's got things going on. But I want to tell you about next week's show. Ron Wong will be at the Grizzly Jig. That's right, Rolling Ron. Oh, Ron is everywhere. I'm telling you what. He needs to get him a slingshot and just travel around the Mid-South in the Ron Wong slingshot. He would look cool, wouldn't he, going down the road? Cool.
I've got a picture of Ron in a slingshot, and I can see that.
Couldn't you, though?
Yeah.
And he'll hold 2 people, so he can take one of his cooks with him, as he does that. But he'll be at Grizzly Jig in Caruthersville next weekend. And I know he's already lined up Matt Morgan. He's the president of the American Crappie Trail. They're getting ready to start their first tournament, and I think it's right at the same time as the Mid-South Sports and Boat Show down in Guntersville, I think. A lot of announcements coming out of the Major League Fishing. That's big deal. The Elite Series with BASS, the FLW, they're all cranking up. And don't forget, in mid-March, guess where the Bassmaster Classic will be? It will be in Vol Country. That's right. It's going to be in Knoxville on the banks of the Tennessee River. So you'll want to, I think it's the 13th through 15th, somewhere along that line. All the Tennessee fans will be over there for the Bassmaster Classic. We're also going to talk to Melinda Mize. Now, Melinda, we tried to get her on a couple weeks ago. She only had a short period of time, so we bumped her to next week. She is really determined to be the first woman to win one of the major fishing tournaments for men, primarily. And so Melinda Mize out of Sheridan, Arkansas, we'll have her on. And then, speaking of Major League Fishing, we're going to talk to Bailey McBride about Major League Fishing on next week's show. And a lot of things going. The Bird Dogs will be here before you know it. That's coming up, and they'll be out at Ames Plantation, full field. We'll have Rick Carlisle on later to talk about how many bird dogs we've got, and can Gary Lester win 3 in a row. Wow, he's won back-to-back. That's got it. Guys, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Frank, for being with us on this rainy Saturday. Thank you, Shelby McCall. And this is Larry Ray reminding you to do each and every week. It doesn't cost an extra cent to be a good sport. And
God bless the USA.